Okay, so once again, good day to each and everyone. So our topic for today, of course, is about output of data mining process, no? Knowledge representation like tables, trees, and rules. So this time, especially right now, uh, or nowadays, corporate and organizations are accumulating data at an enormous rate and from a very broad variety of sources such as customer transaction, credit card transactions, no, bank cash withdrawals to early weather data. No? So a lot of relational database servers have been built to store much massive quantities of data. So to put the data into the database servers, online transaction processing or yung OLTP natin systems have been developed to help the business run as smoothly based on their own business processes. So those OLTP systems store all the transactional data into the database for every transactions that happens to the business every second, such as the sales order, purchase orders, in the sale, to head count, data in human capital management. So to enable the top executives to make decisions faster based on facts, online analytical processing or OLAP systems such as data warehouses have been developed rapidly recently. There are a vast amount of data is recorded in the OLTP systems and pushing to OLAP systems for reporting purposes. As the matter of fact, the data itself is critical to a company's growth. It contains knowledge that could lead to important business decisions that bring business to the next level. The data has never been examined in a superficial manner. It is becoming data rich but knowledge poor. So we need information, but we have been a huge amount of data flooding around companies, organizations, even individuals, because the amount of data is so enormous that human cannot process it fast enough to get the information out of it at the right time. Machine learning technology has been established to solve this problem potentially. And to give us more details about the topic, let us all welcome our presenter. Go ahead, madam.
Um, yeah, good afternoon, everyone. This is my report is about output of data mining process, knowledge representation using tables, trees, and rules. So, just a brief recollection about data mining. It is a definition, short definition, a type of analytical process that identifies meaningful trends and relationships in raw data and is typically done to predict future data. Data mining tools come through large batches of data sets with a broad range of techniques to discover data structures such as anomalies, patterns, journeys, or correlations. Um, the output is what we basically get from data mining, and it is also called knowledge representation. It is a presentation of knowledge to the user for visualization in terms of trees, tables, rules, graphs, charts, matrices, etc. There are different types of output for different learning problems that we will tackle or go through this report. For example, the classification and prediction. So I have representation here of basically the techniques in getting or having the output from the data mining process. We have two techniques, the predictive and the descriptive. Under the predictive technique, we have the functions classification, regression, prediction, time series analysis. And under descriptive, we have clustering, summarization, sequence discovery, and association rules. My report will basically centralize or focus more on the classification and prediction under predictive and association rules to emphasize the usage of the tables, trees, and rules. So just a short description for predictive data mining. It is done for the purpose of using business intelligence or other data to forecast or predict trends. This type of data mining can help business leaders to make better decisions, as discussed by Sir or Professor Abante earlier. Um, it is basically used for to make better decisions and can add value to the efforts of the analytics team. Descriptive data mining usually used to provide correlation, cross-tabulation, frequency, etc. These techniques are used to determine the data regularities and to reveal patterns. It targets the summarization and conversion of data into meaningful data for reporting and monitoring. One example of that will be tackled thoroughly later on, which is under the association rule, which is also generally called the market basket analysis. It is always or mostly used for economic purposes, which I will explain later on. So under the predictive technique, we have the classification. We have short definitions here. Classification constructs the classification model by using training data set, predicts the value of classifying attribute or class label. Regression, a type of supervised machine learning technique that is used to predict any continuous valued attribute. Regression helps any business organization to analyze the target variable and predict their variable relationships. It is a most significant tool to analyze data that can be used for financial forecasting. Prediction deals with some variables or fields which are available in the data set to predict unknown values regarding other variables of interest. This is kind of connected mainly with classification, which I will discuss later on as we go through. Time series analysis is a specific way of analyzing a sequence data of points collected over an interval of time. In time series analysis, analysts record data points at consistent intervals over a set period of time, rather than just recording the data points intermittently or randomly. Next, we have under the descriptive clustering, a group of data objects is classified as similar objects. One group means a cluster of data. Data sets are divided into different groups in the cluster analysis, which is based on the similarity of the data. Summarization is a key data mining concept, which involves techniques for finding a compact description of a data set. Association rules, a data mining function that discovers the probability of the co-occurrence of items in a collection. Sequence discovery or sequential pattern mining is a data mining technique that discovers statistically relevant patterns in sequential data. This mining program evaluates certain criteria such as occurrence of frequency, duration, or values in a set of sequences to find interesting hidden patterns. So first we have the classification. It constructs the classification model by using training data set, a data mining function that assigns items in a collection to target categories or classes. The goal of classification is to accurately predict the target class for each case in the data. For example, a classification model could be used to identify loan applicants as low, medium, or high credit risks. So I have an example here which will be visualized using a decision tree. What is a decision tree? It applies to classification and prediction, both of them. Usually define the rules of simple interpretation and understanding, used for decision making, has multiple possible solutions. The parts of a decision tree, we have the root node, which is denoting choice. We have a branch node, which is the denoting probability, and then the leaf node, which is denoting the outcomes. This is the last one, or the one that has the answers to your decision tree. Example we have here is a decision tree that will determine whether a person has good or bad, or determine a person's credit score. So as we see earlier, we have root node. in this table, we industry, the root node is age. And then we have the branch node. The industry, the branch node would be the income. And then we have the leaf node. As you can see, the ABC at the bottom, that will be represented by A as bad credit score, B good credit score, and C as excellent credit score. As mentioned earlier, a decision tree can have multiple possible outcomes. So we have multiple leaf nodes here. So just to explain this briefly, age, we have 3 categories here. We have less than 30, 30 to 50 years old, and more than 50 years old. If a person that is less than 30 years old has an income of less than 30,000, the credit score will be A, bad. If that person has an income of greater than or equal to 30,000, then the credit score will be good. And then for the age bracket 30 to 50, if their income is less than 30K, it's still bad. 30 to 50K, it's good. And more than 50K, it's excellent. And then lastly, for the brackets 50 or more, if their income is less than 30K, still bad. 30 to 50K, good. And more than 50K is excellent. So that's basically how we construct a decision tree. And another way of formulating the classification function is the decision table. It is also defined as the simplest way of representing an output, a tabular representation of decision points and corresponding actions on given conditions. And the main components used for the formation of data tables are conditions, actions, and rules. So I have an example here that this was also derived from my decision tree earlier. We have the conditions. If the age is less than 30, age 30 to 50, age more than 50, income is less than 30K, income is 30K to 50K, and income is more than 50. And then we have the actions. That person will receive bad credit score, that person will receive good credit score, or that person will receive excellent credit score. And then we have the rules. So this will determine whether we met the conditions in order for us to receive the actions. So first one, we have yes to less than 30 age. Then no to the other 2 age brackets, of course. Then yes to the income is less than 30K. So what will be the action? That person will receive bad credit score. And that goes on for the rest of this. These are basically just a combination of everything. Second one, age is less than 30. And then income is 30K to 50K. Yes, here. So what action will he receive? Receive good credit score. All right, so that's just a repetitive thing over this one, over the conditions. Just a combination of age and how much income they receive. All right, so next, after the determining how to formulate a decision table, we have the association rules, which is defined as analyzes and predicts customer behavior. If-then statements that will uncover relationships between unrelated data in relational database, also called market basket analysis and affinity analysis, as I have mentioned earlier. It is used for shopping or in mostly retail. A data mining function that discovers the probability of the co-occurrence of items in a collection, which we can, as I've said, use mostly in retail. Example, I have simple examples here. One is bread and coffee. And then number 2 is buys onion and garlic and buys pepper. So what does that mean? In a shopping market, let's say a shopping market, or a person buys, or a group of people buys bread, and in that group of people there are also people who buys coffee. And then the second one, there are groups of people who buys onion and garlic, and within that group of people, most likely they will also buy pepper, and that will be determined using the association rule. So I will discuss first the parts of an association rule. We have the antecedent. This is the if. Stay in the statement, an item found within the data. And then we have the consequent, the then, an item found in combination with the antecedent. So the if or the antecedent is mainly the constant, or the consequent will be dependent mainly on the antecedent. So the third part is the support, which denotes probability that a transaction contains the antecedent. The confidence, the last part, denotes probability that a transaction contains the antecedent along with a consequence. So the example is here. We have the complete parts. The bread is the antecedent, the coffee is the consequent. 20% of the sample people within the sample included in the data buys bread, which is, this is the support. And then 40% of those 20% who bought the bread also bought coffee, which is the confidence, 45%. So how will we explain or elaborate that? I have a problem solving here. This example, consider in a market there's a total of total transactions of 100. There's 100 people. The total number of bread transactions within those 100 are 20. And so to get the support or the percentage, we get 20 divided by 100, which is the total number of people who bought or who made transactions. We have, and then times 100, which is 20%. That derives the support. And in those 20 transactions, there were 9 transactions of the coffee. So 9 divided by 20 times 100, which is the original numbers of people in the data. So that will be 45%. That's how we derive the 45%. And then for the association rule, we have 3 different kinds of it. We have a single dimensional, which is the one that I have given in my example. We have 2 dimensions here, bread and coffee. Then there is a multi-dimensional association rule that has 2 or more dimensions. Here we have grade 12 and section 1 students who buys textbooks. We have 3 dimensions here. And then hybrid dimensional association rule with repetitive dimensions. We have the grade 12 students who bought textbooks, and then within those, they also bought notebooks and bought textbooks. Like it is, or one of the dimension within the rule was repetitive, which is buys textbooks. And that's the end of my presentation, sir.
Okay, so thank you very much with your presentation. Again, data mining is a promising and relatively new technology. So data mining is defined as a process of discovering hidden valuable knowledge, as what our presenter mentioned, by analyzing large amounts of data which is stored in database or data warehouses using data mining techniques such as machine learning, artificial intelligence, and statistical. That's why somebody from your section asked me about, sir, why do we have this type of topics like something about linear regression, multivariate linear regression. They were asking, it's just a mathematical concepts, but as I answered, they must be focused on how they will be able to handle data mining. So then again, as I mentioned earlier, and our presenter also discussed that many organizations in various industries are taking advantage of data mining, including manufacturing, marketing, chemical, no, even aerospace, no, and others, to increase their business efficiency. Therefore, the need for a data or for a need for or the need for a standard data mining process increased dramatically. No, a data mining process must be reliable and it must be repeatable by business process or by business people, no, with little or no knowledge of data mining background. So I think, as far as I remember, no, in 1990, no, across industry, standard process for data mining or yung CRISP-DM was first published after going through many workshop and contribution from over 300 organizations. Now, so the cross-industry standard process for data mining, yun po yung CRISP-DM, no? Cross-industry standard process for data mining, CRISP-DM, no? Consists of 6 phases intended as cyclical process. Now we have, of course, the business understanding, data preparation, modeling, and so on. Okay, so the data preparation, no, typically consume about 90% of the time of the project. No, so the outcome of the data preparation phase is the final data set. No, we have modeling, evaluation, deployment, and so on. So again, a while ago, our presenter also discussed about the data mining techniques, no, the association, the classification, the clustering, prediction, sequential patterns, decision trees, and others, no. So we often actually combine 2 or more of those data mining techniques together to form an appropriate process that meets the business needs. Okay, so most commonly, no, there are some applications, no, of this data mining using some Java, no. So they have the Java development environment, no, like including the GDK and Eclipse IDE properly, so you can get ready for learning Java programming language. Wherein you could also able to apply, especially, no, at present, no, especially when it comes to database. As introduction before, no, we are very particular in using how do you call this one, no, before, no, access lang, no. Sometimes, of course, we use right now MySQL, MS SQL, and most commonly, especially with a big company, though, they were using Oracle, no. Most commonly, because again, there are some application and methods of a cluster analysis, as what our presenter mentioned earlier, no. So there are many uses of data clustering analysis, such as image processing, data analysis, pattern recognition, market research, and many more. So because using data clustering, companies can discover new groups in database of customers. No, classification of data can also be done based on patterns of purchasing, as what our presenter mentioned. So what will be the requirements of clustering in data mining? So interpretability, no? The result of clustering should be usable, understandable, and interpretable, no? It helps in dealing with messed up data. Usually, the data is messed up and unstructured, so it cannot be analyzed quickly, and that is why the clustering of information is so significant in data mining. So grouping can give some structure to the data by organizing it into groups, no, of similar data objects. It becomes more comfortable for the data expert in processing the data and also discover new things. So wait. Then, of course, high dimensional, in a sense that the data clustering is also able to handle the data of a high dimension along with the data of a small size. No? When it comes to attribute shape cluster are discovered, arbitrarily, no, shape clusters are detected by using the algorithm of clustering. No? A small size cluster with a spherical shape can also be found. for the algorithm, different kinds of data, algorithm usability with multiple data kind, no? Many different kinds of data can be used with algorithms of clustering, and the data can be like binary data, categorical, and interval-based data. Okay, so the clustering scalability, the database usually is enormous to deal with. So the algorithm should be scalable to handle extensive database, so it needs to be scalable. So when it comes to data mining clustering methods, we have partitioning clustering method, no? And of course, we have hierarchical clustering methods, as what our presenter mentioned. No? So in the partitioning clustering method, no, in this method, let's say that Melo, no, partition is done on the Abante objects of the database. Let's say, for example, or M partition is done on the A objects of the database. So a cluster will be represented by each partition, and M less than A, no, wherein K is the number of groups after the classification of objects. And there are some requirements which need to be satisfied with the partitioning cluster method. And of course, number one objective should only belong to only one group, and there should be no group without even a single purpose. There are some points actually which should be remembered in this type of partitioning clustering method. Okay, number one, there will be an initial partitioning, no, if we already give number of partition. Let's say M, no, and there is one technique called iterative relocation, which means the object will be moved from one group to another to improve the partitioning. And number two, as I mentioned, is the hierarchical clustering methods. This will be also part of the presentation of our presenter, no. And of course, when we say a hierarchical clustering method, the given set of an object of data is created into a kind of hierarchical decomposition. So the formation of hierarchical decomposition will decide the purposes of classification, and there are two types of approaches to creation of hierarchical decomposition. Ano yon? We have divisive approach, no? So another name actually for divisive approach is top-down approach. Now you are familiar in our system analysis and design. The top-down approach is what we call divisive or divisive approach, no? So when we say divisive approach or the top-down approach, at the beginning of this method, all the data objects are kept in the same cluster. So smaller clusters are created by splitting the group by using the continuous iteration. And the constant iterations method will keep on going until the condition of termination is met. And one cannot undo after the group is split or merged. And that is why this method is not so flexible. Number two, of course, is the agglomerative approach. Agglomerative approach, or in other words, bottom-up approach. So from bottom to top, no? All the groups are separated in the beginning. Then it keeps on merging until all the groups are merged or conditions or termination is met. And there are two approaches now which can be used to improve the hierarchical clustering quality in data mining. Number one, one should carefully analyze the linkages, no, of the object at every partitioning of hierarchical clustering. So one can use hierarchical agglomerative, no, algorithm for the iteration or integration of hierarchical agglomeration. So in this approach, first, the objects are grouped into microclusters. So after grouping data objects into microclusters, macroclustering is performed on the microclusters. Number three is the density-based clustering method. So in this method of clustering in data mining, density is the main focus, no? The notion of mass is used as the basis for the clustering method. So in clustering method, the cluster will keep on growing continuously. At least one number of points should be there in the radius of the group for each point of data. Number four is the grid-based clustering method. So in this type of grid-based clustering method, a grid is formed using the object together. So a grid structure is formed by quantifying the object space into a finite number of cells. So what will be the advantages of grid clustering method? Number one, faster time of processing, because in a grid-based clustering method, the processing time of this method is much quicker than another way, and thus it can save time. Another thing is this method depends on the number of cells in the space of quantize each dimension. Of course, number 5, of course, is the model-based clustering method. In this type of clustering method, every cluster is hypothesized so that it can find the data which is best suited for the model. So the density function is clustered to locate the group in this method. And number 6, of course, is the constraint-based clustering method. So application or user-oriented constraint are incorporated to perform the clustering, and the expectation of the user is referred to as the constraint. In this process of grouping, communication is very interactive, which is provided by the restriction. So again, when it comes to, maybe what kinds of classification is not considered a cluster analysis? Number 1 is the graph partitioning. Because the type of classification where areas are not the same and are only classified based on the mutual synergy and relevance is not cluster analysis. Number 2, result of a query. In this type of classification, the groups are created based on the specification given from external sources. It is not counted as a cluster analysis. Number 3 is simple segmentation. So division of names into separate groups of registration based on the last name does not qualify as cluster analysis. And number 4, supervised classification. Those types of classifications which is classified using label information cannot be said as cluster analysis, because cluster analysis again involves group based on the pattern. So now we have an idea, or we have many things about data clustering, such as the approaches and methods of data clustering and cluster analysis in data mining. So again, cluster analysis is a statistical approach that presupposes no prior knowledge of the market or customer behavior. And some cluster analysis methods produce somewhat different findings each time the statistical analysis conducted. This can arise because there is no one-size-fits-all method to data analysis. Because changing data outputs can be confusing and irritating for students who are new to the notion of cluster analysis. So if somebody asking how is cluster purity and cluster quality calculated? Okay. We multiply the total number of data points by the number of accurate class levels in each cluster. Purity rises as the number of cluster rises in general. So if we have a model that organizes each observation into its own cluster, let's say for example, the purity becomes 1. We may compute the average Selhout coefficient value of all objects in a cluster to determine its fitness inside a clustering. And the average coefficient value of an object in the data set may be used to assess the quality of a grouping. Selhout basa rito. Okay, then another one is what are the distinction between K-means and K-methods? K-means actually tries to reduce total squared error, whereas K-methods tries to reduce the sum of dissimilarities between points classified as being in cluster and the point chooses as the cluster center. Unlike the K-means method, the K-methods algorithm picks data points as center. So most commonly, let's say, for example, if your research focus on, let's say, image processing, most commonly we apply some different algorithms that it is stated for us with this different cluster purity and cluster analysis. Okay, so I think that's it for this topic.